we bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Dip Yanko. In tonight's game plan, we'll catch up with the reigning kings of PBA 3x3, the TNT Tropang Giga, after their huge win to claim the first leg of Season 2.
We'll also get some inside stories on the Creamline Cool Smashers campaign in the ASEAN Grand Prix assignment in Thailand. And we'll do a rundown of the top standouts so far in the Spikers Turf Open Conference. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. It's a brand new season of PBA 3x3, and while new teams and faces debuted in its first leg, the crown stays with the TNT Tropang Giga. Joining us tonight to talk about their epic sweep of the competition with an epic overtime win in the finals are the champs themselves, the epic Almon Vosotros, Ping Eximiniano, Samboy De Leon, and Coach Mau Belen. Congrats! Welcome to the game. We have you here all the time, guys. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you din po.
Thank you, guys.
Alright, so Coach Mau, I'll start with you first kasi syempre, TNT have been a consistent force dito sa 3x3. Did you do anything different this time around or was it more of the same? Kasi grabe, a sweep in the first leg.
I don't think we did something different, and we don't just throw that word consistency out of the blue. We always make sure we cover that in all fronts, defense, offense, off the court. We want to continue to be consistent, and we start that process again on Wednesday when we go back to practice.
Right, speaking of consistency, Almond, of course, alam natin bagong season in the PBA 3x3. May mga bagong teams with new players, but TNT Tropang Giga with the same players. How important is this chemistry pagdating sa success ninyo na pareho pa rin yung players ninyo?
Siguro for me, ito yung malaking advantage namin kasi since last conference kami na yung magkakasama. So yung chemistry namin, hindi namin masyado problema.
Well, it shows in the way that you play. Kaya actually, I want to dive deeper into that. Samboy, can you explain to us why is it better to stay together than to break up?
Kasi kaya sabi ni Almon, mas matagal kayo magkakasama, mas pamilya na kayo sa isa't isa. Kumbaga, kabisado nyo na, alam nyo na yung gagawin ng bawat isa. So, advantage talaga na matagal na kayo magkakasama.
Oh, of course. And of course, I want to talk about the differences din naman. Kasi syempre, we saw a few new faces here, and new faces in different teams, and also even different teams as well. Pero Samboy, when you saw yung changes and when you saw the new faces, did that add more excitement to play 3x3 again? Kasi syempre, it gets tiring playing the same faces over and over again.
Siyempre, new faces, parang exciting kasi mga bago parang kailangan mong magpakilala, kumbaga, na kayo yung maging dito sa 3x3.
Right, puntahan naman natin yung naka-game winner ng finals, Ping Eximiniano, no? You guys faced Meralco, a familiar foe in the 3x3 scene. Meron ba kayong part na nahirapan against Meralco, especially in that finals game, Ping?
Siguro yung yung last dying seconds, yung we're looking for 2 points para matapos na yung game. Doon kami nahirapan, hindi na-shoot yung bola eh. That's why si Almond sumisigaw na, pwede tayo mag-shoot ng 1 point. Sabi niya gano'n. And then, ayun, nung sinimulan na ni Samboy na mag-shoot siya ng 1 point, and then, ayun na, pagka pick and roll namin ni Almond, nakakuha ko ng roll and then basket, game-winning shot.
Nag-1 point pala si Almond. Parang 2 points lang pala ako nakikita sa kanya eh. Pero, Coach Mau, grabe yung grabe yung competition this time around because now almost everyone knows how to play the game. Does it make it more difficult for you as a coach to be able to prepare yung team ninyo because of the fact that everyone has TNT in their sights?
Oh, definitely. The preparation, especially coming to leg 1, we don't know what we're up against. But then again, we can only worry so much dun sa other teams. Ang pinaghandaan talaga namin is our conditioning, yung strategy, yung new system that we're implementing. I think that's the only thing we can control so we just worry about our team.
Right, balikan natin si Almond. Almond, ano yung mga natutunan nyo in that first leg win that you can use pagdating sa susunod na leg?
Honestly, medyo madami. Siguro number one nga yung conditioning. Kasi yun yung pinaka-advantage Kapag ka-condition ka, lalo na kayong apat. So kapag keep rotating lang sa sub, walang napapagod. Yun yung advantage. And yun chemistry na, yun din yung second na advantage namin.
Almond, sino sa inyo yung pinaka-kondisyon?
Tipping.
Yon. Ayun, gusto ko. Alright, before we go here, once again, guys, congratulations. Pero Coach Mau, when seeing the field right now, seeing what you have to do, how difficult will it be to have a season as successful as you had last time around? And of course, sana this time around, hoping for you guys na mag-grand champion kayo sa huli.
Oh, honestly, yung leg 2 lagi naming downfall yan, no? Hindi ko alam, maybe we get yung pagkapanakit namin ng leg 1 na pupunta sa head namin instead of just putting more work. So, sabi mo nga, yung pinakauna, we will try to be consistent. We will try to work on a lot of things we can improve on kasi 5 games na nilaro namin, it's not all good. There are a lot of needs improvement talaga on our game. So we will work on that and we'll try to get another one on Saturday and Sunday.
Gentlemen, Coach, maraming salamat. Thank you very much for joining us. And if we get to see you again next week, wow, iba talaga.
Thank you, guys.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And on to historic news. 17-year-old tennis sensation Alex Ayala is officially in the record books after her amazing win at the 2022 US Open Juniors. On a stage no other Filipino had ever competed on, Ayala defeated world-ranked number 3 Lucy Havlichkova in the finals to secure the first ever Grand Slam title for the Philippines. Ranked 297 in the world, Ayala made history in front of her family and Filipino supporters who witnessed her monumental achievement.
And on behalf of everyone here at the game, congratulations, Alex Ayala. After the break, we'll get an inside look at the experience of Team Philippines in Thailand for the ASEAN Grand Prix. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
back to the game. Team Philippines may have missed the podium in the ASEAN Grand Prix, but the country still has something to celebrate. National team member and Creamline Cool Smasher Kyla Atienza was awarded the best libero in the 3-day tournament. To tell us more about the team's campaign in Thailand, we have with us volleyball analyst Miguel de Guzman. Welcome to the game, Miguel.
Thank you, Dip.
All right.
Paolo.
You know what? Can I just say it before we start? Napaka-connected to sa nangyari sa Thailand. So
Oo
we
naman.
have one of the best sources here with regards to ano nangyari sa Team Philippines sa Thailand.
Oh, that's
so
right.
let's take it away.
Simulan natin yung discussion, Miguel. Of course, we know that the Creamline Cool Smashers represented the country in AVC and now in the ASEAN Grand Prix. And people were saying, oh, kailangan ba natin magdagdag ng players or are we gonna stick with the same group? But they stuck with the Creamline core. And one of those players that joined them was their libero, Kyla Atienza. And people were saying, oh, kakayanin kaya ni Kyla. But Miguel, tell us about how Kyla did not disappoint.
Yeah, everyone was really proud about the showing of Kyla Atienza.
Yeah.
Coming into the game, she's one of the most underrated liberos we have. Not talked about much compared to the other bigger names, but she showed up in the big stage and eventually brought home the Best Libero Award.
At alam mo, being there is a sacrifice eh. Kasi balita ko, may trip siya dapat sa Europe. Tama ba?
Yes, that's
I don't,
correct.
please explain this to me. Kasi that I haven't been in Europe for a while and I'm sure she would have wanted to be there too.
Well, a few weeks before the PVL season ended, they were informed that they were going to represent the country in the AVC Cup and the Grand Prix, as we are discussing now. And prior to the PVL season, she already had a vacation in Europe booked. And the moment that they committed to the 2 tournaments that they played in, she had to rebook right away.
Yeah.
And thankfully, she has a $500 cash prize, so I guess that will cover the rebooking fee that she has to shoulder.
You know, again, Kyla, congratulations on winning the Best Libero Award. And of course, I enjoy Europe. I'm jealous. I'm not gonna lie.
Grabe yung
Jealous
dedication,
ako.
ha?
Oo,
Grabe
iba
yung dedication
doon.
to rebook that trip. But of course, Miguel, alam mo rin yung how the Team Philippines prepared for this. Ano ba yung routine nila in those 3 days that they joined the tournament?
It's been a very hectic tournament for them. 3 game days in 3 days.
Yeah.
And then Korat is a location that's 4 hours away from the airport. So they had to go through the traveling and the air travel, the land travel, and so on to get to the venue. But when they got there, the first thing they did was to train. Train, they did weights, they went to the court, worked on their service and receive.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that's the only thing that they were allowed to do in Korat because it's not really a tourist destination compared to Bangkok. So they really had to eat, sleep, and play volleyball every single day.
Well, it was a 3-day journey, as you mentioned, in terms of yung trip nila doon and the training and the routine that they had. But then, you know, they also had things to do there, despite the fact that it wasn't necessarily a tourist destination. I heard that they met with a familiar friend during that trip.
Yeah, they met with their previous coach, Coach Tai, who visited the team. He was very excited about the Creamline team coming to Thailand. And actually, right after the tournament in Korat, the team is going to go straight to Bangkok and they're going to celebrate in Coach Tai's restaurant, Palanchai.
Okay.
That's what everyone's looking
we see
forward
the logo
to.
there right now. Oo. And we also see the food there.
Must try pala yan eh, no?
Oh, do you make suggestions ka ba from the menu?
Oh, everything's so good. You know, I've been there once and it's really Coach Tai who cooks the pad thai and the hoi tot. So
Grabe.
Okay.
he puts love and care into the food that he serves.
Tsaka ano yun eh. Authentic yung kasi Coach Thai, tapos Thai food, di ba? Di ba? Authentic yun.
Tsaka very generous siya. Parang eat all you can tayo doon.
Sorry, pa
Stop, Dick. No. All right. But syempre, apart from that, what's the itinerary of this team? Kasi syempre, from what I understand, apart from visiting Coach Tai, there's also going to be night market shopping. I don't want to see the bill that's going to happen after shopping. You can tell me about that off the air. But what do they have planned?
Right after the very hectic month that they had, they finally get a 3-day break in Bangkok. So they'll be going around the night markets, different sceneries, and just enjoy the company of each other without thinking too much about competition and training for a short period of time before coming back and going back to work.
Right. What are their learnings in those 3 days na banggit, of course, ng team? I'm sure you had like information coming from them. What did they learn most importantly? Of course, facing dire-diretso yun eh. After PVL, they faced King Will in the finals, tapos nag-AVC pa, tas ngayon Grand Prix. So ano yung mga parang napulot nila in those tournaments?
You know, one thing that Gia mentioned to me is she appreciated the relationship that other teams had with each other. They went against Vietnam, Thailand, and Indonesia. And these teams have been together for the past 3 to 5 years, representing their own country. So, as a team, they were really inspired to stick together, trust in the ability of one another. And, they're trying to apply that to Creamline. Hopefully, in the future, the Philippine teams can apply to our national teams as well.
And of course, grabe, you mentioned all of the things that they went through. We've seen them all covered, and of course, we've seen their journey from the PVL, as you mentioned,
Yep.
to the ABC and now the Grand Prix. And the interesting thing is, I think some people or other people might have complained, but this group did not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you have when you saw the motivation that they had, nagulat ka ba that they were, I guess, really pushed in, really they were ready and willing to represent the flag despite all of the aches, the pains, the fatigue that they all had to go through.
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge. They knew the expectations of the people coming in. Of course, it's a different feeling for everyone when you're carrying the Philippine name across your chest.
Yeah.
But they were all up to the challenge. They stuck to their game plan, believed in the system and each other, and thankfully they were able to perform well.
Yeah, they did. They made
the
a lot of us
expectation
proud
of it.
for sure. And, this is a lot of highlights that we're actually showing you because really there was so many highlights to think about and parse through. Maraming salamat. You're gonna stay here?
Yeah.
You're still staying here, right?
Tama
Dip?
pa si Miguel, may extension yan.
Oh,
Parang fifth
true.
set, di ba? Kailangan natin.
Don't say
siya.
fifth set.
All right, we're gonna have Miguel still here with us because after the break, we'll shift our focus to men's volleyball as we talk about some outstanding performances so far in the Spikers Turf Open Conference. Stay tuned, you're watching The Game. the game. With the Spikers turf in full swing, the action in men's volleyball has been nothing short of exciting. Volleyball analyst Miguel de Guzman still joins us on the show to share his list of top standouts in the tournament so far. And welcome back, Miguel, sa ating The Game. But lipat naman tayo sa men's volleyball this time around.
And I just have to clarify dito, Dip, that and to save Miguel also. This is his list. Okay, this is not the league's list.
Yeah.
Oh, he chose it. It's his own choice here. So let's start off with the very first one. Again, this is a list of his top standouts.
Based on the games he's covered and seen, of course.
Of course. First off, we start off with someone from the Signal HD Spikers. Itong si JP Bugawan. So, why him in particular?
Okay, first of all, I just like to clarify, it was very hard to come up with this list.
Okay, yeah. Defending yourself now.
I'll try my best. I'll try my best to explain. You know, JP Bugawan, Signal is one of the top blocking teams in this tournament. And, you know, NU's up there with them, undefeated in the standings. But the reason why I chose JP Bugawan is because he's part of a team that's loaded from top to bottom. It's a team that has Mark Espejo, Isay Marasigan, and veterans in Peter Torres.
Yeah.
These are the names that you always hear in men's volleyball. But to be able to come in, contribute both offensively and defensively, that's something that's very impressive.
All right, how about second on the list, Josh, or better known as Jao Umandal from the Navy Sea Lions. You covered him in their last game, Miguel. Binuhat niya nga yung team niya in that game. What can you say about
Yeah, in this
Jao?
previous game, he scored 29 points against the Philippine Army Katingo Troopers. And this is coming off a game where he scored 20 plus points, carrying his team to another win. But the reason why I chose him is because you definitely see the growth in his game.
Yeah.
He played in Bahrain and he was an offensive weapon back there, and which is not surprising why he's erupting for 20 points a game in this tournament. So that's the reason why I chose him.
You know, si Joshua Mandal, a lot of people, well, it's not that a lot of people have forgotten, but then he actually did step up even for the national team level, picking up a lot of the scoring cudgels. So it's nice to see him continue that here. Sa palagay mo ba, I remember we were all hyped that he was scoring high for the national team. Is it a surprise that he is even upping that now dito sa Spiker Surf natin?
You know, I'm sure he's playing with a lot of excitement right after the 3-year break. This is the first time that the Spiker Surf is back in action. But it's not surprising because of the amount of competition that he's joined and the talent that he's faced, both locally and internationally. So it's good to see him step up for his team.
All right, third on the list, we have a youngster from the Santa Rosa City Lions. Ito, youngster pero medyo oldie na siya sa team niya. Get that. This is Jade Disquitado.
Yeah, the reason why I chose Jade Disquitado as one of the 3 players to look out for is because, you know, everyone's so amazed by his athletic ability and his scoring in the game, and it's everyone's waiting for his decision on where he's going to take his talents in the collegiate level. So, with the type of competition that he's facing right now, he's trying to prove that he's a name to watch out for.
I think he's definitely proven that, you know, having covered him as well. And then when he was on the show recently, grabe yung confidence level niya, saying that he doesn't necessarily want to be like the next Mark Espejo,
that's right. Yeah, I heard
as
that.
Coach Babes was saying, but instead he said he wanted to be the first Jade Disquitado. Pero syempre may bonus rin tayo. Kasi grabe, Miguel's super ready. When you have a bonus, he decided not to just pick one person. Instead, he picked an entire team. Santa Rosa City Lions. Why so?
Yeah, you have to give it up for the entire team. You know, the average age of the players in this team is 17 years old. And they're going against competition that has experienced multiple years of experience under their belt and who has played for their national team, played in international competitions. So, you know, for them to hold their own and not give up, show their grit and grind in every game, it's very impressive for a very young team.
Alam mo, Dip, before we move on from this, kasi syempre, you also cover this as well, and we all do, and we're all in the middle of friendly fire during the pregame. Pero when you see a team like Santa Rosa City Lions take on the big guys like Signal, in fact, they were the first game. You know, just how excited are you for the young players, especially?
You know, Pao, it's so interesting kasi itong Santa Rosa City Lions, actually, the game that I covered, yung game nila that time, na yellow card sila. Because masyado silang energetic, sabi ng referee. That's the thing, of course, when you're a young team, of course, excited ka with the exposure, you're playing against your idols, and you can't blame them because masaya sila to be playing in the Spikers turf. So, keep it up, di ba? Yung energy na ganun, kailangan nila as they move along in the tournament.
No, I see that for sure. And just to go through your list right here, since we have enough time, I have time to critique you. Kasi you mentioned JP Bugawan especially for the Signal HD Spikers, and I completely understand that. But then for the fans out there who will be like, oh, what about the other big names? And you mentioned JP, you had to mention him because he stood out even despite all of those stars. Are there any stars that we're all familiar with right now that you feel stepping up even more because of what they're showing here in Spikers Turf so far?
Yeah, well, everyone's doing a very good job, but one player that I really appreciate watching is Peter Kiel and Chris Doria for Navy.
Yeah.
You know, Casanya, the setter of Navy,
Yeah.
has a lot of options in his team.
Sa middle,
Yeah.
no?
Yeah.
And, you know, the adjustment that he had to make from being a middle blocker to an outside hitter, that's not an easy adjustment, but he's up to the challenge.
Grabe, nakadalawang bonus tayo with Miguel de
Swerte
Guzman.
natin.
Oo, swerte natin. Yan yung fifth set. Alright, and that'll do it. Miguel, maraming salamat. We can't wait to have you over here. And of course, to see you more on Spikers Turf. Make sure you do catch that on One Sports and One Sports Plus. And watch out for the pregame especially because Dick is a magnet for them balls.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Magdala ng mga umbrella para
Oo,
iwasan yung mga bola na
naka-cycling
yan.
helmet
Miguel,
na ako for the next
time, alam
one.
mo na gagawin.
Oo.
Alright, thank you so much for joining us and thank you for joining us in your own homes. I'm Dip Dipianco.
Catch us weeknights here on One News, One Sports, and One Sports Plus. I'm Paulo De Rosario, and this has been The Game.